Let us pray. To God our Savior, who alone is wise, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and forever. Amen. Jude 25. Amen.
Let's get adopt the agenda.
Yes, Chairman, I have 2 items to add to the agenda tonight. Item number 23, non-traditional instructional program application for the 2022-2023 school year. And item 24, project graduation funding match request, requesting from Anderson County High School project graduation program, matching $3,000, or excuse me, donating $3,000 and matching an additional $1,500. And those are the only 2 items to add to the agenda, please.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mitchell.
Scott Brown, motion to approve agenda.
Second, Jason Collins.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. All right. All right. Do you all mind to please stand? Ms. Peach, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Peach. Thank you very much. All right. Approval of the minutes. Recommend approval of the minutes of the March 14th, 2022 regular board meeting. Can I get a motion, please?
Scott Brown, motion to approve.
I second, Rose Morgan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Financial report. Ms. Moak, how you doing tonight, lady?
I'm good. How are you guys? Tonight, I just wanted to go over a few things. Overall revenue has increased by 5.7%, and this increase from prior year in revenues is due in part to increase in SEEK funding of $423,000, an increase in property taxes of $197,000, and an increase in motor vehicle tax of $98,000. Our salary and benefit expenses show an increase of 9.53 from prior year. But remember that we had that additional funding from last year for the Corona relief funds. So when you factor that in, really we have an increase of 5.3%. And this is reasonable based on our step and 1% increase approved in May and the increase in benefit costs. Our other non-salary expenses decreased approximately 0.3%. But as noted last month, we received the reimbursement of the $143,000 for our bus, which skews our transportation expenses. So without that reimbursement, our true expenses have increased by approximately 5.3%. A portion of this increase is due to the increase in electricity costs that I mentioned last month of $107,000. We had an increase in property taxes. And in addition, our overall costs have increased for goods and services due to inflation. Other items to note, the General Assembly session will come to a close on Thursday of this week, and the proposed state budget is education-friendly, including funding for full-day kindergarten and funding for transportation up to 70%. Once the session comes to a close, we'll have a better idea of exactly what we have to work with for our tentative budget. To ensure that we are, budgeting appropriately. We are working currently on the tentative budget and updated salary schedules for board approval in May, so look for that next month. I'm currently working on data collection for ESSER, GEAR, and American Rescue Plan funding. We are required to provide this information to KDE, and they're compiling all of the districts together to then report this to the U.S. Department of Education. The things that are included is what we have spent, what we've been reimbursed for, and then what are our plans for the remaining funding. Obviously, the remaining funding will be based on our current ESSER spending plans. And so as we have made changes and brought those to the board, we have amended that accordingly. Are there any questions? Okay, that's all I have for you.
Get a motion to accept the finance?
Make a motion to accept the financial report.
Scott Brown, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Orders of the treasurer.
No questions?
Motion, please.
I make a motion to accept the orders of the treasurer.
Second, Peggy Beach.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Mitchell, thank you.
I'd like to welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. It's great to see everybody. And it's this evening, and it's wonderful to have parents. I'd like to start just by reminding everyone that it is Child Abuse Awareness Month. I'd like to say thank you to our Family Resource Center folks for organizing a wonderful event last Friday. As you see, we have some of our banners and yellow pinwheels that represent our child abuse awareness. So this is just a reminder for all of us that our number one priority is to ensure our student safety. And so any type of report of abuse, of course, is our number one reporting to duty. And so I just like to remind everyone of the importance of that. I'd also like to say thank you to Mayor Young, Judge Britton, as well as Representative Tipton for being here last Friday to do the joint resolution, as well as to say thank you to our Family Resource and Youth Center folks who do such an amazing job watching out for our kids every day. So just a reminder. And also a special thank you to Sarah McGahey for just arranging such a wonderful event last Friday. Next, I'd like to say congratulations to our students, our families, and our staff at Robert B. Turner Elementary. Our Family Resource Center folks did a competition among our elementary schools for food donations for our local food pantry. So Robert B. Turner and student staff and faculty raised 5,000 pounds of food to donate to our local food pantry. So let's give them a round of applause for that. I'd also like to say thank you to our food partner, Mrs. Domino's, for donating over 60 pizzas to celebrate our students and staff at Robert B. Turner. So let's give them a great big round of applause. We do have some summer academies that are currently being planned for our students. We have a K-4 program as well as a 5 through 7 program and an 8 through 11 program. We do have directors already selected. Dates will be announced soon. Our focus is going to be reading, writing, and math. So parents, students, please be looking for that information. It will be coming your way very soon. We'll also have charter school options as well for students that need credit recovery. I'd like to recognize and congratulate a very successful play. If you missed Singing in the Rain, you really missed a wonderful, phenomenal production of our high school students. They did a great job with their 6+, I think, performances, Mr. Glass, at the high school in March. I'd like to thank the students, of course, for their hard work, their exceptional performance, but also the actually 4 teachers at the high school, Ms. Coon, Ms. Smith, thank you, Ms. Keller, as well as the other Mrs. Sulu Smith that comes back each year to help us with that production. So just a big thank you to all of those students as well as the faculty who helped make that performance just an amazing experience for everybody. We also had a very successful performance from our advanced choir as well as our band at Disney over spring break. So congratulations to those students, and a big thank you to the chaperones who went on that trip to help make that a very successful performance, and just a wonderful experience for our students to perform at Disney. Last, I'd like our athletic director, Mr. Jesse Kearns, to come forward. He's going to go through all of our athletic recognitions this evening. Let's give him a welcome, please.
Good evening. We like to recognize our student athletes as often as we can. Last month we did our winter athletes, but there were a few teams that we did not do due to other conflicts. So tonight we're going to recognize our cheer team, some from our dance team, and some from our girls basketball team. So student athletes, as I say your name, if you don't mind to come stand up front and stay until the end, we're going to take a picture. For cheer, we have senior Mackenzie Glass, senior Lexi Dodd, sophomore Mackenzie Tuggle, and sophomore Abby McCowan. Here's some words from Coach Bingham. Mackenzie Glass has been cheering since 7th grade. This season, she was the team captain. She helped lead the team in their regional competition and UCA Nationals. She was always willing to learn new skills while being fearless of flying up in the air. She was also always looking for ways and ideas to improve the team. Lexi. Lexi has cheered all 4 years of high school. She demonstrates leadership skills, commitment, and dedication. Lexi provided individual help to her teammates for all football and basketball games. She was always putting in the work on her own time to become a better cheerleader. Mackenzie Tuggle is a prime example of strength. She embraced the challenges and difficulties in performing at nationals with a back injury. Mackenzie never once gave up, quit, or complained because of her pain. She pushed through the season for her teammates while giving 100%. And Abby excels in performing and cheering in front of large crowds. She was always known to have a big smile on her face. She is an example of what it takes to have spirit and get the crowd involved in any game. She always did her best to keep the team's pride up. The energy and positivity she gives off are what every coach would want. All 4 girls were credentialed in crowd leader, spirit raiser, ambassador, athlete, and entertainer, safety and leadership, and maintained a 4.0 GPA for the year. All right, stay up here, girls, if you don't mind. I'm sorry. Senior dancer, Lauren Wash. Coach Hancock.
Hi, my name is Emily, and I'm the dance team coach. Lauren is an outstanding captain and teammate. She is always positive and the first to lift others up. She works hard to learn dance choreography via video to teach others dancers because COVID, we couldn't have many people come in. She has been on the Bearcat Dancers for 3 years while also being involved in ACHS soccer, advanced chorus, and musicals while maintaining a 3.9 GPA. Lauren has been a huge help this dance season and will be truly missed. Thank you, Lauren, for all your work and dedication.
And our Anderson County girls basketball team. Freshman Kylie Ball, senior Peyton Baum, junior Jenna Beasley, senior JC Chesser, sophomore Claire Cooper, sophomore Maddie Hond, sophomore Faith Hyatt, senior Amia Jenkins, freshman Lainey Johnson, junior JC Lucas, senior Kenley Lucas, sophomore Jenna Satterley, senior Paige Serafini, and 8th grader Abigail Wells. Coaches are Clay Burwhistle, Charlotte Holtzclaw, Sammy Rogers, and Mark Evans. Ladies and gentlemen, this girls basketball team had a season record 30 wins and 5 losses. They were crowned the 2022 30th district champions. This is the 7th district championship in a row. And the 2022 8th region champions, the 3rd regional championship in a row, which they advanced to participate in the girls' Sweet 16 at Rupp Arena. Okay, girls, look at Trey. He's going to take a picture. Can I wait on this? All right, girls, thank you.
Chairman, that's all that I have this evening.
All right, well, thank you, Ms. Mitchell. First of all, I want to thank all you all for attending tonight. Thank you. We got a couple people going to speak. First on the list is Miss Peggy Peach.
We're not going to do board education tonight because I didn't have any questions, for one thing, from anyone. And I just wanted to tell you about something that I've just gotten so excited about. I know all of you have driven by the campus of BCTC many times on your way to Frankfurt, but you may be like me and didn't know about an opportunity that's offered there. Anyone that has dreams and aspirations to be a registered nurse and begin a medical career, this is your chance. A 2-year registered nurse program is offered and is affordable and close by. I was so impressed. I went to an open house with my grandson who's interested in nursing, and I was just so impressed with the rows on both sides of the hallway of the graduates of this program, many of whom I know are now nurse practitioners or have master's degrees, maybe even one with a doctorate. So this is just a beginning program, but they have opportunities for scholarships, and then there's also money through the state you can get where you could finish this program probably debt-free. And when you get hired at a hospital, the hospital will then pay for your future education to go on and get your bachelor's, which now is the beginning level for a nurse now in most hospitals. But I was just so excited. Everyone was just so friendly and helpful. The nursing lab instructor is Dixie Webb. Some of you might know her. They had a really nice lab with up-to-date equipment. I was impressed with all of the skills that a person can do on these dummies, so to speak. And I encourage anyone that is interested to contact Director Tiffany Drewy and begin your climb on that ladder of success. Whether you're a high school student or a returning older adult, this is your opportunity to achieve that dream. High school freshmen can begin earning college credits toward a degree. You would need to meet with your high school guidance counselor and start that process. And after you complete the 2-year program, you're eligible to sit for your NCLEX, which is your test that's done. And if you pass, then you are a registered nurse. And then the sky's the limits then, because as I said, most hospitals now will pay for your further education. But I was just so excited after attending that. I said, I've got to tell everybody here in Lawrenceburg about this opportunity. So I thank you. Go home and tell any family or friends, anybody that's dreaming. You know, it's never too late. They have a lot of adult students, and they said it's a good mixture. The younger students and the older students, they help one another. So thank you for your time.
Next on the list is Dr. Anissa Davis.
Sorry I missed last month. I was battling a major sinus infection, and today with the weather, it's all back. But my name is Dr. Anissa Penn Davis. I am president of the Anderson County Education Association. My ties to Anderson County run deep, and you know I'm serious when I write it all out. We're not doing this off the cuff. My family settled in Anderson County shortly after the Revolutionary War, when my sixth great-grandfather, Captain John Lillard, settled here. Even my Scotch-Irish lines came here because it reminded them of home. I started my educational career here in Anderson County almost 19 years ago, and Anderson County is the district in which I plan to retire when that time comes. And I mention all this because I'm worried. As a visual person, I describe it as storms on the horizon. You know, the ones where you hear the thunder and have to decide whether to bring the cows in or let them stay out. Right now, we have sunny skies with rain. Old wives' tales tell us that when the sun shines through the rain, you can expect the same weather at the same time tomorrow. And that's where I see where we are. Educators are being disrespected from multiple sides with no relief in sight. And the result is that many are not only leaving the district, but the profession entirely. So how do we make sure here in Anderson County that our people know that the grass is greener on this side of the fence? And maybe give them an umbrella or a stronger shelter from the storm. Our contingency fund, AKA the rainy day fund, is very healthy and robust at about 10% the last time it was reported. Over the next few months, you will be given a few draft budgets to study and vote on the one that works best for Anderson County schools. Over the last few years, those budgets have included a 1% raise plus the step. I ask you to also consider the option of a 2% in the step, along with a 3% in a step. This board has already proven that a 2% plus the step is not a budget breaker because you recently gave that to us, albeit not all at once. Okay? So ladies and gentlemen, there is no need to wait for a future rainy day to wisely use some of that money because it's raining today, literally. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. All right, that's all for the comments from visitors. We'll get into our monthly meeting. All right, construction updates. Hello, how are you?
How's it going? Good to see everybody. A couple motions on the board this evening related to construction. I can give you just a general update, and then we'll go through the motions. If you have questions, I'm here to answer those. Payment application for construction is one of the items up for motion this evening. The highlight of that is that we've released approximately half the retainage for the mechanical contractor for work that they have completed. Still holding back the other half as those items get buttoned up. Commissioning is nearing completion. Problems in programming and fine-tuning are being addressed as they're discovered. Warranty walkthrough items are being resolved as contractors are here on site doing that work. And then the practice field remediation efforts occurred where we had areas of settlement over the geothermal well field, kind of happened rapidly. So that those ruts have been filled and seed has been put down and it's starting to sprout. I was out there with Terry before this meeting in the rain. I can tell you it's soggy. But that's kind of the general update. We're just trying to tie up loose ends and get out of here, which I think I've said before, but we're really continuing to push on it. Some items linger and we're getting those wrapped up. Excuse me, getting those wrapped up.
Questions for this gentleman?
All right. Well, with that, I'll let you make your motions, and if you have questions, I'll answer.
Okay, thank you. All right. Y'all ready? We'll get started here. Construction payments. Consideration to approve the following construction payments presented by summary number 28 for BG 19-061. Fry mechanical reduction and retention, $76,580.85. Alliance Corporation, $4,411.46 for a total of $80,992.31.
Motion to approve, Scott Brown.
We got a motion?
Second, Jason Collins.
We got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Chairman, I oppose. I don't feel like I have enough information about this. We know we've got issues still, and something was said about a June deadline to make sure everything's in order, but I just don't feel comfortable finishing up payment until things are A1 condition.
All right. Anybody else got any discussion they will bring up before we finalize?
This is only half half the retention left on it, so it did full payment on Fry's.
Okay. All right. We got a motion, we got a second. All in favor? And Ms. Peach, I think you opposed, is that correct? Motion carries by unanimous decision. Let the record show that Ms. Peach opposed. Thank you all. All right, moving right along. Payments to CMTA. Consideration of approved payments to CMTA for the Anderson Middle School Outside Air Unit Project in the amount of $553.10 for instruction administrator. Okay, anybody want to speak on that? Or any questions about that? I have no questions. Can I get a motion to approve?
Scott Brown, motion to approve.
Rose Morgan, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, 2023-2024 calendar, second reading. Second reading and approval of the 2023-24 school calendar.
We got him.
We got it.
Save him for another day.
No changes from our last meeting on the first reading. By formality, that does require a second reading. This is the 23-24 calendar that we created from the calendar committee based on the previous data that was presented to you in March after the first reading. Coming to you tonight to answer any questions that you may have that still linger with regards to that calendar, and ask kindly that you bring it up for a second reading and approval, please.
Y'all have any questions for Mr. Harley? Any questions for him? All right, if you have no questions, can I get a motion to accept?
I make a motion to accept the 2023-2024 school calendar.
I second the motion, Rose Morgan.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. Thank you for all your hard work on it.
Motion carries. All right, frontline renewal. Consideration to approve the renewal of frontline asset management software for 2022-23 school year in the amount of $7,538.61. This is an increase of $393.01 over the 21-22 renewal year.
As you all know, each year, we do need a system that does track our absences. It also helps us with filling those absences. And so this is an annual request. I believe Mr. Murphy, as well as Mrs. Jana Moulton, would also agree that this is an important request. It does help us with finances as well as fulfilling the substitute request as well. Any questions that any of us can answer?
For this amount, we saved 2 employees. I think it's money well spent. Scott Brown, motion to approve.
The motion, Rose Morgan.
We got a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Auditor's approval, consideration to extend the auditor's contract, Dennis King, CPA, for 1 year for the 2022 audit, an amount of $20,000.
I recommend to the board that we extend for 1 more year Denise Keene for the 2022 audit. There is an increase from $19,000 to $20,000 for this next year, and the additional cost is associated with the additional field work that will be required this year for the implementation of GASB 84 and KDE's requirements to separate out each special revenue fund. Ms. Keene talked about that when she presented to the board back in January, the additional work that entailed. In addition, because of the ESSER funds, there is going to be a lot of additional work for her in testing those funds as part of the federal testing. So are there any questions?
How many years has she done it?
This will be year 5.
Okay, this will be the last year. We have to pick someone else.
We don't, it's recommended, but because it's a service, we have the option to take that out or not, but this would be year 5.
That's what I was gonna ask, why we're just doing it 1 year, but
What was that?
I was gonna ask why we're only doing it 1 year and how many years she'd been here.
This will be year 5. So,
Well, I kind of like the recommendation after a while, get new eyes on things. I like that 5-year recommendation. So maybe next year, y'all consider thinking about.
and we can put out an RFP for that
Yeah.
next year.
I mean, that's, it's always good to get new eyes on things, not saying that she's not doing a great job, but, that's just business.
There isn't very many of them in the state that do it, but motion to approve, Scott Brown.
All right, we got a motion.
Second, Peggy Peach.
Got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is Mr. Drury's not here tonight, is
Mr. Drury is
He's on-
not here.
he's online.
But he is
he?
online.
Oh, he's online?
Yes, if you have
All right, the next item is Chromebook purchases. Mr. Drury, Blake, are you online? Are you gonna speak?
Mr. Drury, can you hear us? All right, Mr. Drury, can you hear us now?
Can you guys hear me?
Mr. Drury, can you hear us now?
Okay, I think we are good.
Mr. Drury, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Thank you, sir. I apologize. We were trying to get the volume turned up and also get you turned on. We are on the Chromebook purchase. Would you like to take us through these quotes?
Sure. Let me jump over on my screen. So we had 3 quotes come in. Vivacity Tech, Traffair, and Gov Connection. The Vivacity is the lowest quote. That's what I'm requesting that we go with. They have Chromebook prices, just like everything else, have been going up with supply chain issues, with chip demand, and then getting them has also been an issue. So they have these in stock, and that was the lowest price. So those are the ones that I'm requesting that we go with.
Any questions for Mr. Drury?
Are these for replacement or?
Yes, that is correct. These are student replacements. So we have a replacement schedule that we have where we replace at the freshman level, and those would go through their high school class, and then the sixth grade level, we refresh, and then elementary, we refresh a little differently than we do middle school and high school, but that's the way those work.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
And are each one of those, are they equal spec from each one of these companies?
Yes, these are the same specs on the Chromebooks. We requested on the specs several different things, and one was the lifespan of the build to go through at least 2026. And so
Okay.
these all do have that the Google build that'll last longer.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a good price for $295 a piece roughly. So. Scott Brown, motion to approve.
Jason Collins, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Clarifying, Mr. Brown, Vivacity Tech, yes, sir? Okay.
Yes.
Making
One he
sure.
recommended.
Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, the next item, Mr. Drury, I think you're up next again.
Yes.
Net-
So this
Network
is for-
upgrade.
Yes, this is for our network upgrade. So we file with E-rate. And so on the document you have, you can see the totals of everything and what they've quoted. We get a major portion of that back. I've applied for to receive that back from the USAC. We actually don't even spend it. They will pay the company that we choose that amount of money, their portion, and then we only pay the portion that we're for, which is 20% of the total cost. And so there we have a rubric that's required for E-rate purchases, and it goes through what we did. The big thing for us was we wanted to make sure that it was compatible with our existing infrastructure. And so that was a major portion. We're very blessed that the one that came in the lowest is the most compatible. It came in the lowest price, and it also scored the highest across the board. So we're requesting that we go with Extreme for this cycle.
Any more questions?
No questions.
Can I get a motion to accept?
I make a motion to accept the network upgrade.
I second that motion, Rose Morgan.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Donations over $1,000. Consideration to approve a donation of $1,498.56 to Sparrow Early Childhood Center from the Children Care Council of Kentucky to purchase kindergarten workbooks.
Chairman, as you know, all donations typically have a particular group that they donate to for a purpose, and so this particular group, the Child Care Council, is donating to ECC for the particular purpose of kindergarten workbooks. Any questions?
Yes, what exactly do these workbooks include or exclude?
That's a great question. Ms. Ratliff, are you familiar with Mr. Alexander and/or Mrs. Ratliff? Do you all have specific information regarding the workbooks?
So it's not just pencil, paper, task, it's other things that are included.
Yeah, it has just little, they get a little marker, and it's just little tracing early childhood skills in there. That way it's easy for the child to just, they can put the book on their lap and work with it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Can I get a motion, please?
I I make a motion that we accept the donation from the Child Care Council of Kentucky.
Second, Peggy Peach.
We got a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I would like to thank that group, it's very appreciated. Thank you. All right, food service repair extension, consideration to approve the renewal for Keith's Repair as primary equipment repair service for 22-23 school year. This is a renewal of one of the 2-year extensions, which was approved by the board on April the 12th of 2021.
Is this a local company, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, he is. I shouldn't answer it.
Yes, ma'am, this is local. I think we've used this vendor for a number of years. Mr. Fields, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Same prices as we quoted for the RFP last year, so no change in price.
He does most of the restaurant repairs around here as well. Good guy. Scott Brown? Scott Brown, second.
Got a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Indirect costs. Recommend approval to accept the indirect cost rate for 12-month period starting July the 1st to June the 30th. The non-restricted rate is 12.79% and restricted rate is 1.84%.
The indirect costs is the cost of administering the management of funds. It's as simple as that. Each of the grants that we get, we can charge indirect costs for. Now, depending on what kind of grant it is, will determine whether it's the non-restricted rate or the restricted rate. For the most part, on those that have the restricted rate, we have not charged indirect costs. But this is a way for us to recoup some of the costs and bolster up our general fund. So normally we do it for food service, and we have done it for the ESSER money just because it's been a lot of work on the part of everybody. And so this is a chance for us to add a little to the general fund to help offset some of those costs. Are there any questions?
No questions, can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to accept the indirect cost recommendations, the percentages. Peggy Peach.
Second, Jason Collins.
We got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Creation of a special education instructional assistant. Consideration approved the addition of a special education instructional assistant for 22-23 school year to meet student needs.
Yes, sir. As you know, we've had several needs this school year to add additional staff for our special education team to help serve the needs of our students. This particular instructional assistant position is for the next school year, the 2022-2023 school year. Mrs. Morgan Cook, is there anything you'd like to add regarding this request for approval?
Does this assistant position go away when the need goes away? Yeah, I mean, okay.
Mrs. Morgan Cook, is this behavioral and/or academic or both? Both.
I make a motion that we approve this additional special education instructional assistant for 22-23.
I second the motion, Rose Morgan.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Do a good job, thank you.
Creation of 7 full-time substitutes. Consideration to approve 7 full-time substitutes until substitute shortage for the 22-23 school year.
This request is to go ahead and create, or continue, not so much create, but we currently have 7. We have 6 filled, we're requesting 7 until the sub shortage is hopefully in the near future will be less of a concern for us. This allows us to have each school have 1 full-time substitute that's assigned to them, plus 1 that we can assign to a school that may have more needs than the other. But this, again, this request is a continuation of what we're currently experiencing here in Anderson County Schools, but also across the state with substitute shortages. It allows us to have the supports in place for each school to at least have 1 full-time substitute per school, with 1 extra support across the district in case there's a need. Any questions? Mr. Murphy did a really good job of collecting data, so I just wanted to say thank you to him for collecting that data. The building principals as well have continued to do a great job. This year, we had a hard time filling them, but we, I think, are currently fully staffed with the number that we have allotted. So this is just a request to continue to do that until we stop having such a shortage for substitutes.
Make a motion that we approve these 7 full-time substitutes for 22-23.
Got a motion?
I'll second that motion, Jason Collins.
A second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Summer school salary schedule, consideration to approve the summer school salary schedule.
As I briefly mentioned in my opening, we are very excited to announce that we're having our summer academies again this summer. Our goal is to really focus in on reading, writing, and math for our at-risk students, our students that need additional supports for reading, math, and/or writing. We are currently planning 2 weeks and propose our teacher salaries at their daily rate with 2 additional days for planning. So for elementary, we would have 9 days just based on the time frame that they've requested, totaling 11 days, or $40 per hour just based on the enrollment. We're currently in the process of looking at the needs based on our data tracker to determine the enrollment projections at this point, but we're trying also to get coordinator salary schedules in place. We do currently have our coordinators selected. The salary that we're proposing is 4 additional days with some of them teaching, totaling 10 days, but total teaching, but also 4 additional days, and/or at $5,000. Mrs. Melton, is there anything that you'd like to add to this information?
Our middle school is running 1 extra day, so it would be 12 days versus the 11 days for our teachers. We would also ask for you to approve for classified positions that are part of the summer camp that we would pay $20 an hour for those individuals. I think they would only be paid for the days that they're actually there, no planning days. So it would just be the 9 days and the 10 days respectively.
Thank you for adding that. I completely forgot about the classified. The other thing I would like to mention, this is strictly just for the summer academies. It's for the students that are at risk behind that need additional supports. Separately will be the summer school, which is for credit recovery and/or for students who are in danger of failing. And that will be a separate approval and a separate camp or a separate opportunity for those students. Any questions?
Is this ESSER funds or is this?
This would be ESSER funds, correct.
Scott Brown, motion to approve.
Rose Morgan, second.
We got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Trip request. Consideration to approve the following trip requests. I'm gonna give you all a few minutes. Please read. If you got any questions, please ask.
Everybody's had time to read. I make a motion we approve. Scott Brown.
I just wanted to ask, will they need transportation, or are they gonna hire like buses or? Well, the one to California, I'd say they're going. I would say they're probably gonna. Yeah, yeah. But, usually they just say whether.
They're going to fly, yes.
Oh, okay.
This,
Maybe just the
cost-
buses on Campbellsville and.
yeah.
Okay.
This costs a trip paid for by the girls' basketball program, so. Yeah.
Be a long drive.
24 hours.
All right, we got a motion. We got a second?
Make it second.
We got a motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved, passed. I hope they all have fun. All right, moving right along. Key second offer of assistance. Recommend approval of the second offer of assistance. 2022, the amount is $39,830, and it's based on the 2021 statewide ADA figures, except state technology fund. Offers of assistance must be matched equally by the district. All right. Who's gonna speak about it? You?
I'm going to do that.
All right, go right ahead.
Blake's not here, so I'll talk about it. We do this normally 3 times a year, but this year they changed it up, and so we're only having 2 offers of assistance. So this one's a little later than it normally would because they combined the second and third offer. So we're getting approximately the same amount as we got last year, but contingent to receiving these funds, we have to show that we, as the board, will match it equally. So, do you have any questions for me?
I make a motion to accept the KIT's second offer of assistance.
I second the motion, Rose Morgan.
We got first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving right along. Approval of emergency certified teachers and substitute teachers. Recommend approval to employ emergency certified teachers and certified teachers and emergency substitute teachers for 22-23 school year.
As you all know, this is an annual request, and again, we do have substitute shortage, so the request is for emergency substitutes as well as emergency teachers in case we do have that need. Positions are always posted, applicant pools are always reviewed prior to the selection of any emergency certified teacher, but just, again, the annual request for this approval, please. Any questions?
Scott Brown, motion to approve.
Second, Peggy Peach.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Kentucky Proud participation request. Food Service Director Ronnie Fields requests consideration to participate in the Kentucky Proud Buy Local program.
All right. You know what's real easy to do with federal money? Get on a system called Webscom and spend, after you do your research and planning, several $100,000 on sending money that comes in from the federal government into Kentucky back out to corporations, Tyson and those kinds of companies. Do it in the morning. Real easy to do. You know what's not really easy to do? Buying locally. But Anderson County is on the forefront of that. We've been working with Tina Garland on our farm to school. And when you look at the importance of that, of buying locally, you know, one of my dad's chief complaints as a local business owner was paying taxes, but schools not, you know, sending field trips and that kind of thing too. So, I know that that's a thing that often businesses think about locally is, you know, the tax dollars, will they be spent locally? So I'm a big believer in that, not just Anderson County, but Kentucky. And this farm to school, not just Kentucky Proud, but farm to school, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. When you look at some of the larger districts, millions of federal dollars that are coming into our state it's a pass-through going right back out of state. And so the more that we can do to figure out ways to keep that tax money, the federal money, in the state supporting local businesses, local farmers, is only going to improve all of our economies. I know there's stats of for every dollar spent, it circulates $8. I'm not sure exactly the quote on that or the exactness of that, but I do believe that the more we spend locally, the more we're going to help our people. So we've been working with Tina Garland on some of the stuff we've been doing, and we've worked with her and another couple of counties to actually develop some guidelines on how to buy local beef. And there's a lot of steps when you're not a major corporation with lawyers that can jump in, and when you have to figure out a lot of this stuff by scratch, it's time consuming. But I really appreciate Tina Garland. She's the head of Kentucky Proud. We first started to try to do this locally with fruits and vegetables. That didn't pan out as well. We did that 4 or 5 years ago. But I think the protein is really going to head up in a tremendous fashion. I want to thank Ms. Mitchell for always supporting us and trying to find innovative ways to do things. And so without her support, your all support, of course, none of this would be possible. What we're at, so that's the big picture, is spending our federal money locally and supporting our local businesses, our farmers, and not just in Anderson County, but first here, but also within the state. So what we're requesting tonight is the Buy Local program is an incentive program to reward food service entities that enhance their menus with locally sourced Kentucky Proud farm ingredients. A reimbursement of 15% up to $8,000 annually can be earned on eligible Kentucky food purchases. To participate, the entities must be Kentucky Proud. We've got our Kentucky Proud certificate, so if you approve this contract, after it's approved, we have both parts, and then we can we should be able to be part of the Buy Local program. I think we've got all the parts covered.
One of the things, Mr. Fields, I would like to thank Ms. Mitchell and you. I've talked with the farmers in my area, in Anderson County, not just my area, about encouraging them to get on the list and participate with this, because I think it's good for them and it's good for us to buy local beef. I do have one that's has signed up in my neighborhood that is a big producer, and I hope as I told him, I said I'm not taking no. I'm helping it. I'll help anyone, and I want to thank you both for sharing the information with me so I could share it with them how to go about it.
And I think we're just getting started. I mean, the millions and millions of dollars that are coming into Kentucky that are passed right on out to, Tyson actually does Advanced Pierre too. They do the hamburger too. I mean, there's a lot of money that's gone right through our state, and if we can get that and keep that in Kentucky, Anderson County, Kentucky, it's going to just... It's going to improve for everybody. It's going to really help our state. A lot of money involved.
We have some large beef producers here that are in our county, and hopefully it'll work out so we can.
Absolutely.
So, but you're hoping that this will extend to produce and other things too, right? Or
I do. We tried to do that with local produce. We actually had a meeting here. We invited farmers in. That one was a little bit more difficult. Maybe it's just the volume of, let's say, if you're going to order potatoes or corn. But, big picture, and I hope it's okay to say this, we've got a farm over here at MB. At some point, my ultimate goal would be for fruits and vegetables, why can't we raise corn and pay some extra time for people that would be willing to come in and blanch it and freeze it, and we do our own corn that we grow over here at MB. I mean, there's so many things that we could do. Right, which all of our school kitchens qualify. So you could bring in, and there's some other school districts, Madison County's already doing some of that. Scott Anderson, I give a lot of credit to him on some of these innovative things. He's the one that started that idea in the state, and they've already been doing that. They'll buy local, and they just, farmers market, bring it in and pay food service people to start processing it and put it in the freezers. Freezer space is an issue. There's some different things storage-wise we have to look at, but big picture, we need to keep thinking about steps we can take to buying locally, local produce, and it's going to be healthier. We know the nutrients, we know the animals that these farms are coming from. I won't get into all that. I'm sure there's theories both ways on that, but I think it's going to be healthier, the local stuff that we're producing.
I think the more schools can, our district especially, can buy local, I think our board's more inclined to do that. So with that said, I'll make a motion to approve. Scott Brown.
Second the motion, Rose Morgan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Bring in some more.
Bring on the beef. Motion passed. All right, purchases over $10,000. Consideration to approve a 2-year license agreement for the Ready for K curriculum for the first 5 of the Bluegrass Grant Program in the amount of $34,950. This will serve Anderson, Wolford, Jessamine, Franklin, Frankfurt Independent School System. We are acting as a fiscal agent for this grant. Boy.
Back again.
Back.
Busy girl tonight. We are the fiscal agent for this grant, and so because of this, all of our procurement requirements are in place. So that is why it's coming to you to approve. If you have any questions, Miss Elizabeth is here and could probably give you a little more information about it if you would like it.
Comes from the Governor's Office of Early Childhood Education, and we are in the first 5 of the Bluegrass region with the other counties that are listed. This year, we received roughly $84,000 for the grant. Next year, the grant funds will be in excess of $127,000. So we are very fortunate that Anderson County has agreed to be our fiscal agent. You all do receive a fiscal agent fee for taking our money, and it's certainly not enough for all the work that I put Jana and Harmony through. So I do appreciate that. This is an app that we will be providing to local child care facilities. It is a license for 25 units. So it can reach 2,500 families each year. We have the ability to monitor the usage of the app as well. So for example, if you sign up for the app and you use it a month, and then we see you haven't used it for an extended period of time, your child care facility will reach out to you and ask you if there's an issue with the app, and you could say, I don't want to use it anymore. We can take you off and add a family who might be on the waiting list. It will send you every week an early childhood education activity. So it's just a short, sweet reminder to engage with your children. And it is a 2-year agreement.
The 2,500 between the 6 county or 6 school systems?
Yes, yes.
And what will happen is if you agree, tomorrow I will contact the company, they will turn it on, and then we have facilitators who will go out to all the child care facilities in these 6 counties and teach the child care directors how to register their families, and then each child care center will be responsible for registering their families. We as a council will be monitoring how many people sign up and the usage, and we take care of it for the next 2 years.
Do all the daycares get seats? Do all the daycares get seats on the app?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is this to get numbers on how many children we can expect maybe to be coming into our school system, or?
No, ma'am.
Just to help?
It's very challenging for you and I to even understand it, because I know when my kids were young, and I'm sure when yours were, everywhere we went, it was a learning opportunity. Every time we sat down at the table in our house, the kids had different placemats. So you can ask my daughter Rachel today any question about any kind of shark, and she can answer it. My son is a solar system fanatic. My daughter, the presidents and the history. That doesn't happen a lot today. So what this app does is it just reminds parents, even if when you go to the grocery store, find something that starts with the letter A. What can we buy today that starts with the letter A? Well, we can get an apple, or we can get what starts with almond milk. It's just something that encourages people who don't have their children in dedicated daycare centers, dedicated preschools, to encourage them to get moving. So it's a little bit easier on our preschool and our kindergartners when they get there. Any other questions? Thank you.
Get a motion, please.
Make a motion that we approve the Ready 4K curriculum.
I'll second that motion, Jason Collins.
Motion second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Mitchell, would you please do number 23 and 24?
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is the non-traditional instruction application for 2023. As you know, in the past, we've had the opportunity to experience non-traditional instructional school. During COVID, we had the opportunity to do that for an extended period of time. This past year, we were able to utilize 10 days for just typical non-traditional instruction. So Mr. Harley works very hard with the staff each year to put a plan together that does have to be approved by the board as well as the department for the continuation of this program. Mr. Harley, are there additional things you'd like to share? I know you have worked very hard on the application.
Most of any changes that would come to our plan that we've used previously would actually come after your approval and conversations moving into the new year. Any changes of programs that we may or may not have would be included into that program. The main thing is that we are accepting of the offer that the KDE is lending us with regards to using these days for weather inclement days, which is typically what's been done. Previously, COVID was the initiator for Anderson County with regards to our use of the NTI days. Those have transitioned back to weather use only, or emergency. There is that exclusionary option in there as well for that one, but typically it's for weather emergencies. But there are no major plans or changes to our plans from the previous year. At this time, we're asking to be accepted so that we can move that forward through our consolidated district improvement plan for the actual approval from KDE to be able to participate in this program next year, for the next school year.
You're going to see this as an annual approval. This year, we did very well utilizing these days without interrupting the school calendar, all except one, which we were uncertain about, which we'll be making up on April the 29th. But I think traditionally this past year has been very successful use of the days overall. Any questions or anything else, Mr. Harley, you'd like to add?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second, Peggy Peach.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Mitchell, one more time, please. Number 24.
Number 24, project graduation donation request is every year we have a parent that steps up to the plate and helps us do a very unique, wonderful experience for our juniors and our seniors, which is called Project Graduation. Most of you know, excuse me, about this program. But it takes a lot of time, work, and energy from a lot of parents and family within our community, as well as community partners, to help our coordinators do an amazing job providing this wonderful all-night experience for our students. So Ms. Tia Chilton is here tonight as the parent representative. She is seeking requests to proceed forward with fundraising, as well as the match and the request for $3,000 plus the $1,500 for donation. Ms. Chilton, what else would you like to add?
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I'm correct. This is the largest senior class to ever graduate from Anderson County High School. So we have more kids than's ever graduated. So our goal is pretty big this year. As of about 6:30 tonight, we were a little over 11,000 so far. We have a golf scramble coming up on Saturday that we encourage all of y'all to come by. We're gonna have a silent auction there. You can play golf. You can come just hang out with us, whatever the case may be. And then we have some other things that we're working on too. Mr. Collins is aware of that. He too has a senior graduating. So we're just asking for a little bit of help, same that you've done for us in the past.
It's about $70,000 a year, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, it's
A little
the
more.
number's up. Yeah.
A little bit more than that this year, so.
Yeah. Last year, they raised about $30,000
wow,
last
that's
year.
amazing.
And so our goal is to get that, or maybe just a little bit more, because we have more seniors. So we're still a long ways away from that. But we had just really kind of ramped up our efforts just here recently. So
It's a very fun experience for students, having kids that have gone through it. It's just so good for kids and just
I
really,
actually went through 1,000 years ago when I was in high school. We had project graduation when I was in high school.
it's been a year or two. But it's food.
Good program.
It is, yeah, it's food, it's donations for giveaways and things.
Yes, last year they had to have it outside for COVID reasons, that they had it at the Legion, but this year we're back to the high school. It's going to be inside, so we don't have to worry about weather. We're going to be using the gyms and the cafeteria, and they're going to have food, and they're going to have games. National Guard is bringing a gaming truck and some inflatables. We got those donated. We're going to have T-shirts for the kids, prizes for the kids. Our goal is for each senior to get at least 2 large gifts while they're there. It may be something even as big as a MacBook laptop, or any kind of AirPods, watches, that kind of thing, or large gift cards, dormitory type items that they could use when they get to college, if that's where they're headed.
Refrigerators for the dorm, whatever it might be.
I'm sorry?
I said refrigerators or
Yes,
for their dorm?
yes, for those kids who are going on to college. So that's kind of what our goal is. We want each of our students, our seniors, to get at least 2 gifts from project graduation that night.
I normally don't make a motion. I let them do it, but since you all do such a great job, I want to be the one to make the motion here tonight for this. So I make a motion to approve this lady's money. Can I get
Thank
a
you, I
second,
appreciate that.
please?
Scott Brown, second.
We got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you for the great job you do. All right, looks like that's it, Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, sir, it is.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned, Scott Brown.
Second, Jason Collins.
All in favor? Aye. Oh, motion carries. Can somebody get a record and pull me out of here?
All right, I need your signature on a few
Oh.
things, please, sir.